Well, hello and welcome to a special Gone to the Dogs review of what I think, as I welcome Joe Keneally and Chris Oliver with me today, was a quite momentous weekend, gents. And it's almost a question of where do you start? Do you start at Nottingham? Do you start at Monmore? Do you start at Perry Barr? I actually do think we could start with any of those three, but I think we're going to start with Shelbourne Park and rather selfishly, I suppose, and the UK challenge for the Boyle Sports Irish Greyhound Derby, because we don't get too many challenges over the years. Of course, we had the excitement, I think, of Patrick Godfrey and David Mullins travelling over last year, but leading the way this year is Proper Heiress for very much man at the moment, Mark Wallace, and he impressed, Joe.
He certainly did, Hobbs. He improved for that trial, which we thought he would, and just getting used to the boxes and 344 sectional from two. He's got everything, hasn't he? He looks like he's under maybe a little bit of pressure then going into the third and fourth bend from Phoenix, Memphis, and then he pulls away to win by 4 lengths in the end. So, this dog, he wouldn't be for catching by anything if he led. He starts, he stays. He's a strong runner, and to clock 29.45, second look round there, 29.75 in his trial to find a chunk of time on that. Yeah, he was very impressive in a good race. Let's not be around the bush. This was a good race. Balnabola Joe was even money favourite. He was second in, 13-8. Phoenix Memphis was a 24.80 runner at Shelbourne the week before, and Sunshine Shoe, who qualified as well. So yeah, a good race, and he was just faultless. And he's got a good draw in the next round, so hopefully he can continue to do the business for Mark, Mike, and of course all the UK who will be supporting him as well.
And we should mention the likes of Ballymac Axel and So Cool. I think they're in Irish hands as such. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Proper Heiress is the only UK registered Greyhound entered in there in terms of Mark. Obviously, still training it. I think Mert Leahy and Pat Buckley have got the other two, if I'm not mistaken. But good to see them go well. Certainly in terms of Axel.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a shame about So Cool, but Oliver Caxel put a massive run in, didn't they? And I said on the preview on Friday, huge fan of this dog. Just we haven't seen the best of him yet, but we saw a glimpse of what he's capable of on Friday night. And onwards and upwards for me for both English challengers. It's game on now, isn't it? They've both proved they can run the track, got the first run under the belt, and now let's kick on. Let's have a crack.
Thoughts on Bocco's Diamond?
Graham will be happy. There was a lot of pressure on him this weekend, wasn't there, to go about his business. And look, I was surprised when he trapped Hobbsy. I thought, well, he's won. He's going around the bend and he'll win. But it was a fantastic performance from Epic Case to do what he did. To get him by the third bend and hold on from him a length. He come back at him a little bit off the last bend, Bocco's Diamond, but. Look, he's got 29.45 in defeat. It's his first run over that 550 trip since he won the Derby there, I believe. So yeah, they'll be more than happy with what he's done. He'll come on for that run. And we keep saying it, I wouldn't mind owning a 28.20 court dog or a 29.40 Shelbourne dog over 550. So look, he's in the best hands possible. We know that. And it was a great night for Graham, and I'm sure he'll be thrilled with what he's done. And he's in the next round, which is the most important thing. He's now got a week to work his magic on him to get him to be even better. And if he traps like that again, he will probably win. He come away running. He loves these boxes compared to what we've seen at Toaster. So, yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned with him. I think he ran a decent enough race in defeat.
The final word on Shelbourne Park, Chris, Joe, eye catchers, ones to watch potentially moving forward.
Go on, Chris.
I was, the two I put up on the post by Pat and Jupiter's Patriot, I was happy with, but I was impressed with Hackney Corner, to be honest with you. First run back, very lightly raced ground, won well, beat Ballymac Tibet in a good race. I think there's plenty more to come from that, and he really caught my eye on Friday night.
Joe?
Yeah, I thought Bombay Pat was excellent, really, really excellent and professional in his performance. It's great to see Seven Beach do what he done again and win as well as he did. 29.72, a little bit slower. I think Bombay Pat's the one to beat. I really do.
Okay, so that was across the Irish Sea. This side of the Irish Sea, of course, it was the closing of Perry Barr. the end of Greyhound racing in the second city as such. Very sad day for all concerned. Martin Seal, racing manager, actually penned, I thought, a very good column in the Racing Post, and credit to Martin. I think he summed up the situation very well. But there is light at the end of this particular tunnel, I think, in terms of what's going on with Dunstall Park and Wolverhampton. So thoughts on Perry Barr and then moving forward, gents?
Yeah, I love Perry Barr.
Yeah, I think
Sorry, Chris. I love Perry Barr. Did a lot of commentaries there, Hobbsy, with Sky, and get on with the lads really well in the office. Make you feel really comfortable when you're there with Dan and Martin and Owen and Johnny. They're a fantastic group of people there, and it'll be sadly missed. So it's a happy-ish day that we've got Wolverhampton, Dunstall Park, but very sad to be losing Perry Barr. It's been part of a lot of people's lives for a long time, and just thinking of the people that have sadly passed away in the last few months. Bill Russell was there for a long time. We lost Phil Blunt, of course, not too long ago. He was at Perry Barr, and all these people have been there, and a great track. And I think favourite backers went out on a bit of a high at the weekend with the results. Handed down Harry 4-5, Glenrock Case 6-4, Halcrow Power 7-4. The last winner, Collier Tom 8-11 favourites. So I think they've looked after people who were there on Saturday night. They've given them a few quid to remember it by. So a great night for everyone. I spoke to Dan, and Dan's very cold. So I said, "You're emotional?" And he said, "No." He said, "Not at all." So he's very cold, Dan Bradshaw. But he's been there since he was 16, I believe. So a massive part of his life, and the same for Martin. So a brilliant track, some fantastic competition we've had there over the years. The most prestigious Six Ben race and the most prestigious Bitches race have been there over the last few years. So we'll be sadly missed, I believe, by everyone. I'm
wondering who your most favourite St Ledger winner was there. I wonder.
Yeah, you were there. Calico Ranger, of course. It was only £5,000 at the time, and it was 3 heats and £5,000. It was when there was a little bit of a to do with what was going on, and then they boosted it back up after, thanks to Ark and PGR. So it's Calico Ranger, Gev, Darren, Carroll, the team, one of the best nights there live. Candyman, of course, winning the Birmingham Cup as well, who was just a very, very fast dog. Candyman as well, and we were there for a long time. We were there as graded for a long time, and I remember the first time we went there after we left Coventry, and a lad called Lee Turner, I'm really good friends with now. Our first ever runner was a bitch called Swift Pebbling in A1, and she was about 7-8 to 1. I think she won in 28.50. And he turned to me, he said, "Jesus Christ, mate," he said, "if that's what you've got to come," he said, "we are in trouble." And we had some great times there with them, and just a brilliant track. So we sadly missed and had some fantastic nights there and some great memories over the years. So I don't know what you've had in terms of that, Chris, but I loved it, and I will certainly miss it.
I liked it as a track. Yeah, I did. I liked it punting there as well. It's always sad to see these historical tracks go. We're talking nearly 100 years with that and the old site put together. But thankfully, there is light at the end of the tunnel. There's Wolverhampton around the corner. So yes, it's very sad, and there's so much history attached. But thankfully, there's a potentially happy ending in that everyone's going to Wolverhampton. That opens next month, and hopefully, things pick up there nicely. So it's a very sad story, but there's a nice side to it that Wolverhampton's coming.
Absolutely, and we're looking forward to that, and it just makes, I think, that pill just a little bit more easier to swallow in terms of the loss of Perry Barr. So I suppose my favourite memories always change day to day. Some of the St Ledger's, Droopy's Clue, Calico Ranger, of course, but the Bags Track Championship finals for me were always really good there, as were the Trainers Championship meetings, because it was such a good track. Trainers enjoyed running their dogs there. So I think in that respect, I remember those occasions when the place really did rock in many ways. I think it was difficult for that track in I would say the last 18 months, knowing that what was going to happen. I mean, obviously, the news then coming from Dunstall Park was a real positive. Difficult then to kind of market a track that was going to close. So perhaps wasn't getting the crowds that it perhaps should have done. But I understand on Saturday it was absolutely packed to the rafters, and it doesn't surprise me because it had great facilities and will be much missed. But we're looking forward to Wolverhampton, Dunstall Park, and Absolutely another chapter in terms of racing in the Midlands. So that was Perry Barr. Now just across the way, I think 3 or 4 miles away, was a brilliant meeting at Monmore, Ladbrokes Gold Cup, Ladbrokes Summer Stayers Classic final. And while I think the wait for a first Gold Cup win for Mark Wallace goes on, he had such a strong hand in the Summer Stayers Classic that it was Vagar that beat New Destiny, as we know. But incredibly, 100 Category 1 victories now for the boss of Imperial Kennels, stretching back to Go Commander at Hall Green 2005. And I remember that. I think Sky Sports did it, and I remember it vividly. And what amazed me at the time was that we probably did mention it, but I didn't realize at the time, or looking back, whether that was his first one. I would never have put it down to that, really, but I suppose with the Linda Jones transition to Mark and what have you, it was just kind of business as usual. But that was his first of 100 Category 1 victories. So Joe, thoughts on that?
It's just an astronomical achievement, isn't it? When you think about some of the unbelievable ground trainers we've had over the years and still got, I think, how many would Charlie Lister have won it? He'd be nowhere near 100. So to do what he's done is just unbelievable. And a big shout out to Mike Davis, of course, our boss, who's played his part in that along the way for the last 2-3 years. With the MWD partnership all kicking off with Gaff and he Blaze a couple of years ago, winning the Cesarovic and then back to back. But just an unbelievable achievement. And the 100th one was won by a bitch who's going to be very, very special for them going forward in Vagar. And the draw, and we touched on it, Chris, in the preview. The draw was perfect with Antigua Kestrel drawn just outside New Destiny. Now we've seen what he done to Romeo Empire in the semi-final when he was outside Romeo Empire in 1. He's done the exact same thing to New Destiny on Saturday, which has just allowed Vagar then to get a first run at him, and whatever was going to get first crack at Antigua Kestrel was going to go on and win, because he just didn't see this trip out against that top class greyhound. And yeah, she was just sensational, and she's going to be so special going forward, and she'll be even better with the longer run to the corner because she's got early. She's done this now with that short run to the bend, so when she gets an E6 bend comps with a long run to the corner, who knows what can happen. She's got the Ledger coming up. She could go miles clear of that. We're going to come on to that trip soon when we touch on Nottingham. But yeah, just a very special bitch and a brilliant achievement. So congratulations from me. And I'd echo everyone from Greyhound Racing UK, Gone to the Dogs and News, because a sensational achievement. And the scary thing is he's not stopping anytime soon. So who knows where they can get to. So a brilliant achievement from him, really is.
Excellent. So that was Vagar winning the Summer Stayers.
Yeah,
and Chris, obviously thoughts on that, but also take us into Headford Dane winning the Ladbrokes Gold Cup, and that is a double that has never been achieved, to win the Premier Ground Racing Puppy Derby and then the Gold Cup. Sensational stuff, really, I think, from Maxine Locke's Greyhound in, I think, only his 7th race.
Yeah, I mean, just going back to the Stayers race, as you said, Joe, we called it exactly right. The way that Antigua Kestrel got first run, chopped off New Destiny, and that allowed Vagar to get turn in second and get first crack. And the writing always looks on the wall, I did it, but the way she's gone through and took it up at the 5th bend and kicked a long way clear of a top class bitch in New Destiny was really impressive. And yeah, thankfully we called it right, but it's still a massive performance. And yeah, going back to the Gold Cup, obviously, that's a huge training performance from Maxine Locke, isn't it? For 5 months off the track to come back in the sort of form he has done to complete that double, and the way that Jack Tavern Chief broke, given how strong he's been over in the first 2 rounds, you thought, well, that was it. He turns in front, he's gonna run away with this. But such a massive run for Headford Dane to keep tabs on it in the initial sense. Then when he goes past it, he runs away like as if Jack Tavern's a non-stayer. It just runs away from the dog, and to post 27.79 from off the pace like that, it's a hell of a run. And yeah, just massive credit to Maxine Locke for that training performance, having been off for so long. He's improved with each run back on the clock, and I thought that was a huge run. They've pulled a long way clear of the 3rd there, and I think it's a massive race, running away from a very good dog in Jack Tavern Chief. So congratulations to Connections, and what a huge run that was.
Absolutely. Any other reflections on Monmore, guys?
Yeah, I think this Turn the Magic on looks a monster. Who won the Peter Billingham Memorial. He just looks an absolute. This dog looks a freak. He really does. When he gets it right, he's going to take some stopping. I know he's coming back to the field slightly, you could say. But what he done in this first round of this, when he's walked out, he's edge right, he's took it up and won, and then to clock 28-17 on Saturday. He'll get stronger with age because, some decent dogs. I think a hell of a lot of Vermithor. I think he's a really nice dog, and he just couldn't live with him. This turn the magic on looks a very, very special greyhound. So keep your eyes on him. Swift Jarvis, it was a good marathon, done the business in the marathon, beating Champneys Girl. Scooby the Boss was a great winner from 3 in the Vixen's Contract Limited final as well. So, yeah, great night's racing. We've had some brilliant winners. Headford Dane looks ultra special, and he isn't draw dependent, which is going to be key going forward, especially in your derbies, etc. You can do it from different draw. He had a good draw. Ginger's Prince in 3, gave him plenty of room. I was on Jack Tavern Chief 14-1 when he come out. I went, go on, just turn the bend. I seen 4 come out, the second bend. Oh no, and he just went by him like he did. And yeah, brilliant night, a really good night's race. And Monmore always put on a special night for these double headers, don't they? So fair play to them as well.
They do. Final word on Monmore to me, and I think it's just a plug more than anything else. But I think for any Greyhound fan, just to spend a couple of minutes looking on the story on the Greyhound News UK.com website on Mark's list of 100 Category 1 winners. It's a real trip down memory lane. You'll feel a lot older after that. I think most people will feel a lot older. Because it almost, I think, just goes in sections from Go Commando winning the Gimcrack, which is at Hall Green, through to, the Fear No Ones and Fear Assassins, Eye on the Veto and what he won. I think he was probably responsible for as many Cat 1 wins on his own than any other Wallace trained runner. I'd have to double check that. But, through to Eye on the Storm winning at the Eclipse and Aero Majestic with the Ledgers. Obviously, the Derbies are in there as well. And there's just a whole list of all the 100 Category 1 winners. So, they should be very proud. I know they most certainly are, through to obviously what happened on Saturday night. And well done to Imperial Kennels. So
that's the weekend. The sad news of Richard Yates' passing.
Yeah.
Well, over the weekend that we got on Saturday. Desperately sad. I think come out of nowhere for most of us. So, didn't really know Richard too well. My brother's got the dog Clona King with Richard now, and, speaks very highly of him, and you'd know him a lot more than us. But desperately sad news, and by all accounts, a really, really lovely man who loved his racing, loved his dogs. So, again, thoughts from all of us and condolences to Richard's family, because that was desperately sad news that come out of Oxford on Saturday. So, thoughts are with everyone involved, because it surprised us. It really did. I think I phoned you, didn't I, and said that, we're seeing he's passed away. And fantastic trainer as well. Of course, Freedom Emma winning the Oaks for him. So he'll be remembered for that, but remembered for much more as well.
That's right. I remember Freedom Emma, Wimbledon. I think that was the Oaks. Stuart Lockhart, the late Stuart Lockhart, owned Freedom Emma, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure that was the case. But Richard, a great man, real old school, fantastic trainer. And it was funny, only a couple of weeks ago, I saw a card pop up and his name was on there. And I thought, wow, he's kicking on once again. And clearly it wasn't quite the case. But best wishes to Richard and his family, of course, and a very good dog man and a great greyhound trainer as well, and a classic winning greyhound trainer. Not too many can say that, so they should be very proud. And absolutely right to mention the passing of Richard Yates. So Nottingham on Monday night, the double header at Monmore, followed by the double header. Well, in fact, more than that, wasn't there? Puppy Classic, Select Stayers, and the Select Stakes. So where do you want to start with this one? Because for me, the Select Stakes was just an outstanding race this year. Okay, the race itself was pretty straightforward. If you're on Wiki Ned, it was away and he was gone. But the quality was there from traps 1 to 6. But the Mongi's wild defeat was certainly at the time disappointing. I think on reflection, she's a really good bitch, Fabulous Hecker. He just, for me, it was just slightly flatter than usual. Just couldn't get by. I think it was Val Bluebell, wasn't it? But but a good win and a great night for Patrick.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
You go, Chris. I'll come to this. I'll come to this after with what I think of this, because this is
right.
Yeah, this will take some dissecting. This is shocking. So yeah, you fire ahead, mate, first.
Right, sorry, I thought it was, yeah, sorry, Hobbsy. Yeah, Monkeys Wild just never really seemed to get going, did he? Looked a bit flat. Couldn't get past Vale Bluebell. They got in a little bit of a tangle all the while. Fabulous Heckers kicking on up front, and yeah, it never looked like getting into the race. Monkeys Wild, unfortunately, and I wouldn't know what the reason for that would be. The track or whatnot. I remember the great Valo Tango running a stinker in this very same race about 2013 when it was in the peak of his powers, and he never went back to Nottingham. I remember Charlie Lister with some words after the race. Monge's Wild's won a very similar race here. It just never looks like getting into the race whatsoever. And given we know how good he is, just seems so strange. There may well be a reason, I'm sure there is, and I look forward to hearing more about that. But yeah, such a funny performance, really. But take nothing away from the winner, did its job and run a lovely race. But yeah, for all us turning up to see Monge's Wild putting in an exhibition, it never quite materialised, which is sad to say. But I'm looking forward to hear the fallout of that and see what's next.
So, what do you want to talk about Monge's Wild now, or should we talk about Wiki Ned, Joseph? Because I feel that we've got something coming.
Let's talk about it. How on earth can a track be 100 fast? You know, she's broke the track record, Fabulous Hacker, fair play to her. I mean, 100 fast, like, no wonder he couldn't get going and get after her, because, you know, there's no need for a track to be 100 fast at all. You know, I think it's 50, 60 over the four bends, but 44.11, you know, and she didn't really come away. You know, she was out trapped by Vale Bluebell on her outside, but 100 quick is just, you know, no wonder he couldn't get to her. He's never going to catch it when the track's that fast. You know, it's that doesn't sit right with me, being that fast. There's no need for it whatsoever now. You know, whether that we don't know what it is and we don't know the reasons for it. I'd like to find out and see why they have got the track running that quick, because I don't know what you guys think, but I don't think there's any need for a track to be that fast. And, you know, is that the safest option? I don't think it is, surely.
I would always say where Nottingham's concerned, it's always fast. I mean, I'm just looking at the form from last night, and I think even last week for Vale Bluebell, she was running off a plus 70. So it was even quicker last night, you know, warmer weather, etc. I think if you're a track that runs 50 to 70 fast on the six bends anyway, it's even quicker. I know. I mean, look, obviously I wasn't actually there. I could only say I watched it via my phone. So there were some puddles on the track, so you know it was clearly watered and what have you. You obviously think it was too quick. I mean, obviously, don't know the fallout in terms of anything. There were mishaps. I'm not aware of any, but of course, in this instance, when you want a Greyhound to get after the leader, and he wasn't able to do that, and I think also that Nottingham is deceptively a front runner's track. I know it just kind of sounds ridiculous to say, because we've seen enough races at Nottingham when a runner swoops on the winning line and turns everything around. But you can get away there, and I think the example that Chris mentioned in Falo Tangle is as good as an example as anywhere. You know, even look at, I think, Cunningham User last night. Yeah, you feel he's under pressure. Romeo Steele, okay, didn't get the run in the select stakes. But he's gone off the front there, and you think, oh, he's going to come back, and he doesn't, you know. So, hey, look, and she's also a very good bitch, but equally, you know, they're not machines, I know, and I think we have to. It's our excitement just takes and gets us carried away in many ways, and I think certainly where I was concerned, because I was thinking, you know, you can keep this winning sequence going, but hey, look, I think it's a fair point, well made, and as Chris says, you know, we don't know, you know, if there's any fallout and what have you, but I'm sure he's going to be back Monge's Wild. But I'm conscious that we now really have got to turn our attention to Wiki Ned, because I feel the irony of ironies, because we're all football, you know, men as such. I know you like the rugby league more, Chris, but I don't know about you, Joe, but I was flicking between the action from St James's Park and what was going on at Nottingham. And I thought, you know, someone like Jimmy Fennick, he's got this roller coaster of emotions, probably on the, you know, in the car going back to the northeast, having won. You know, it was a sensational performance from Wiki Ned, wasn't it? I mean, let's just credit that first, yeah.
Yeah, this was a brilliant race as well. 6 of the top, the best around. He just left them for dead again. You know, he's you're running out of superlatives for him, because you've probably answered a question here as well that, you know, people say he's stuck to Sheffield and Newcastle, been a bit of a flat track bully and hasn't really come down south to do it. But he's beat the very best here in this fight, in this select stakes invitation race, and he's beat them well. He had Romeo Steele on his outside, who has helped by missing the break, but he's still going to race to the corner when he hasn't. We know he's going left. Silver Hill Freya raced into the bend, but his pace is just frightening, this dog. And he's just so reliable, isn't he? Just so reliable, so consistent. Whether you stick him over the short 6 bends at Sheffield from trap 6 where he don't want to be, and he comes out like a dog possessed, to 500 metres at Nottingham, to a 497 sectional and 29.22. Just a brilliant, brilliant greyhound. And yeah, Jimmy would have been delighted at 8.54. He would have been annoyed at 8.54 or 8.53 with Anthony Gordon. But at 8.54, he would have cheered up a little bit when he seen what he'd done. And then on the way home, he would have been gutted again. So, yeah, just a superb greyhound. You know, the doubters now can keep doubting, but he's beat the very best at Nottingham last night, and he'll continue to do so because he's just so reliable and so consistent, and he's got everything. He starts and he stays. And if you do that, very similar to Droopy's Plunge in a way. When he runs over 4 bends, you know, that early pace power and that ability to still see it out comfortably is a sign of a true greyhound, and he's just fantastic. So yeah, let's enjoy him because he's brilliant.
Hey, it was almost becoming the perfect night when they got it back to 2-2, wasn't it? And then he's had that sucker punch. But you know, the fact that he's got the Select Stakes trophy in the van, I think for him and Melanie, I think that was great. But so Wiki Ned, Chris, and then you know, Droopy's Plunge, Chelm's Bear, first, second, and third. You know, it was a great race in many ways. I mean, even Romeo Still. I mean, he showed us like Jimmy Lolly ravage again pace, didn't he? I mean, it was just frightening into that bend, but you knew that his goose was cooked in many ways, couldn't win, can't back run Wiki Ned as even Droopy's Plunge couldn't, as we know, although he, you know, again, he showed great pace. He just got a little tangled up. I think it was with Chelm's Bell, perhaps even Romeo Still getting past his kennel mate. But sorry, Chris, I digress. You know me, I just crack on.
No, it was, I mean, the names you're reeling off there, it was a fantastic race, wasn't it? And Wiki Ned's put him to the sword like it was an average race. You know, he's stormed into that bend, gone clear, and nothing's got near him. And he's made a very good field look very ordinary, I think. And what a fantastic year he's having, as Joe said. You're running out of superlatives to describe him. You take the Derby side, on the back of an amazing year last year, he's now won the 3 steps. He's destroyed a very good Select Stakes field, and he's half length away from winning the Dundalk International. He's having another fantastic year, and yeah, full credit to Jimmy for keeping him going. He's just turned 3, and he looks as good as ever. So yeah, massive performance against a good field, and you know, what a run!
What an amazing run, yeah, absolutely off the front. So hats off to Wiki Ned and all the team, Jimmy Fenwick. So we've spoken about the Select Stayers and the Select Stakes. What about the Arena Racing Company Puppy Classic? So we're looking at from the real established stars of the Select Stakes, and very proud that we've got such a good race together this year. And no dissenters, Joe. I'll find a word about that. No dissenters. Usually, I just usually get a load of stick about this. I always keep saying it's got nothing to do with me. It has when things get a little bit tight, I have to say. But yeah, you know, but obviously everyone just thought it was a great race. So I'm just delighted about that. That's a big relief until next year and the pressure comes on again. But touch wood. But Romeo Alliance, you know, gave his rivals a starting to beat, and he just looks top quality.
Yeah, he's got Derby written all over him, hasn't he? He looks the perfect Derby dog. He's shown he can do it both ways. Look, he's turned behind the right dog in Whiskey Alsa, but then the pace he's shown to hit the front of the third bend is just scary again. And you know, she was a brilliant second. She's been superb in this competition for Nathan Hunt. To go from A3 at Monmore to reach this final, you know, third, second, and second behind some really nice types is credit to her. So a great performance. He's got everything. He looks a real deal. He was desperate for me in the puppy final at Toast of Derby final night behind his brother Romeo Ability. He then won the juvenile in good style, again, by having to do it the hard way. And again, that's a sign of a good ground, Chris, that he's managed to overcome that. And we've seen him lead and dominate. But we've now know that he don't throw the towel in when he's in behind. And what he's done there is a great performance. And he looked the one to beat at the start of the competition. And I'm delighted for Dave and Patrick, especially Dave, still churning out these big race winners after all the work they've done and over the years. So, yeah, brilliant performance. But he's one to follow going forward. And I think he was around 40, 50 to 1 for the Derby. I would not put anyone off that at all.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, sorry, Chris.
Coming out of the boxes, you've got your favourite backers have got the hearts in the mouth as you come together, bouncing Monarch. But all of a sudden, he's gone round in second, and that's that really. But you can maybe crab the opposition a little bit for a big final. But he's gone 2 spots slower than Wiki Ned off that break, and with the coming together with bouncing Monarch. So regardless of what he's up against, it's a hell of a run from the start that he had. So yeah, it looks a special ground, doesn't it? It's a very special puppy, and as you said, Joe, looks like very much a Derby dog to me. But yeah, very exciting for next year because nothing's going right from early doors, and he's still won very easily. So yeah, massive run.
And I'm going to come back to Romeo Alliance, but Joe, you've got to have the word then about Romeo ability. So on one hand, we're going to celebrate the fact that it's a phenomenal run, a new track record for Patrick Jansen's runner in the Birmingham Cup Trial Stakes. It kind of seems odd, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know, Birmingham Cup Trial Stakes.
Yeah,
that's for another day. That's for another day. But hey, look, we don't want to lose any competition. So I suppose in this instance, there's continuity, and I presume it will end up at Wolverhampton Court. Anyway, that's by the by. But Romeo ability, brilliant 480-metre track record. But of course, the going was too quick, Joe. So what do you do?
Yeah, Swift Hoffman. He's broke Swift Hoffman's track record, who was an aeroplane. We know he was a very special greyhound. 60 fast, 4.8, 28.06. Look, he beat a decent enough field. He had Kilmore Dancer on his inside. He's 394 sectional. You're doing that, you're giving yourself every chance. And look, we know how fast this dog is. He's very, very fast as well. So, the Birmingham Cup in Nottingham. Yeah, it's only across the M42. It's not too bad, to be fair. It's okay, but we can call it the Nottingham Cup for 1 year, surely, if he's going to go Wolverhampton.
But I really wouldn't know. It's north.
Yeah, it's just across the M40. Yeah, it's a good trek for you. But look, he's a nice dog, isn't he? I don't think he's the level of Romeo Alliance. I think he's probably not as consistent in terms of his performance as Romeo Alliance. He found all sorts of trouble in the semi-final of the Puppy Classic that we saw last week. But when he gets it right, he's very, very fast, and he's done that last night. He's popped out, and like I say, 394. You're gonna post good times on a fast track. So yeah, that track record is gone by a nice dog, and it was held by a very, very fast greyhound. So yeah, we'll see what he does going forward. They're only. How old are they? They're only October, so still got another month of puppy races. There isn't going to be too much around, so we'll see what plans are going forward. But yeah, for Dave to still be churning out these litters, Hobbsy, is brilliant, and a testament to him and Nicola and all the team there as well. Because if you haven't seen his place, I recommend you go, and it's unbelievable setup at Dave's place in Mount Mowbray. So it's no surprise that they do churn out these brilliant pups with how they are treated and what he does from there. So yeah, really, really good bloke, Dave. A very close family friend with my dad, etc. So pleased that he's still going about his business, and he's still picking up big performances, big trophies, because he's just a top man.
He is. Yeah, he's a second most famous person, I think, in Melton Mowbray, after, I don't know, Mr. Paul Pye or something like that. So yeah, no, good, absolutely good setup. Right, I'm going to play a game of. I think we've pretty much summed up where we are. I'm sure that, like us, we could crack on all of our situations, because we're incredible racing both sides of the Irish Sea, and we build up to things like Yarmouth, and of course the second round of the Irish Derby this weekend, which is going to be great. I'm just going to play a game of bingo with you. Greyhound of the Year 2025. So Romeo Alliance puts itself in the picture already. A couple of cat ones. Popper Heiress must be in the mix. Hereford Dane in the mix. I'm wanting you to write these down to come up with alternatives. Monge's Wild. And what about Wiki Ned? retaining his Greyhound of the Year title, which
Like the Derby winner.
Derby winner, Droopy's Plunge. There you go. I said it was a game of bingo, and yeah, you put Droopy's Plunge bang in there. So absolutely. I mean, look, we're into, people will say, right, okay, we're coming out the summer, September, October. We're only what 4 months away from kind of crunch time. By this sort of stage in the year, for me, there's an either or. But I don't think there is an either or in this situation now. Don't get me wrong. If Proper Areas goes on and win the Irish Derby, although that's in Ireland, you'd be hard pressed not to include him or even choose him. But Wicked Ned carries on winning Cat 1s. When you're the reigning champion, it's always difficult to dislodge you. But there's some young dogs coming up on the inside. So final thoughts about that, or am I just getting too far ahead of myself?
That's a good question. Look, we're on the panel, and I think that sticking to 3's got to change this year. And we'll come to that later down the line, of course. But there's too many there that don't deserve to be involved. If I was the owner or trainer of one of them and missed out on a nomination, I'd be royally annoyed. I won't use the word I was going to use, but you'd be annoyed, wouldn't you? Because they've all, in their own right, deserve to be in that recognition. So thanks for that. Obviously, that's for.
Look, I said it was a game of bingo, and you came up with one that I hadn't written down. Don't get me wrong, I literally did that in 10 seconds. So apologies to Droopy's Plunge. But you're absolutely right. The Derby winner has to be massively included, So, but hey, look, it's something we'll pick up down the line, no doubt.
Chris, thoughts on that?
Yeah, very still early days, but you've got Proper Areas among as well, with 3 Cat 1 wins apiece already this year. That's before what Proper Areas does over in Ireland. So your eyes immediately drawn to those two, I think. But I like the idea of Wicked Ned defending his title a little bit. If he's still got a bit of work to do, win maybe another Cat 1 or so too. But yeah, it's not a bad conversation to be having this time of the year that there's more than 2 or 3 contenders already. So
that's your northern, that's your northern sentiment, ain't it?
That's it. Yeah, just to pick you up on that, Hobbs, actually called in Nottingham North. As a true Northerner, I would say the Midlands.
Hey, look, M25 onwards, mate. That's where I'm at. No.
As true Northerners are offended by that. So.
No, that's all good. Yeah, I mean, look, plenty of big races, I think, to come in many ways. So yeah, I think onwards and upwards. Final words, chaps.
Go on, Chris.
Yeah, I'll just Irish Derby, really. Yeah, looking forward to Proper Areas and what he can do. Ballymacaxel and the Irish contingent are not bad themselves, are they? So it looks set up for a cracking derby. We say it every year, but looking at the names on the list, I think it's going to be a special Irish Derby. I'm really looking forward to the next 4 weeks.
Joe?
Look, we've been on this now 40 minutes, and you could talk forever about what's gone on, what's coming up, and that's just why we love this sport. And we're very blessed to work in it because we get to talk about these superstars and have these conversations. And we work in a very unique environment in terms of what we do, and we have important says, Hobbsy, going forward. With select stakes and nomination, etc. So yeah, it's a brilliant sport, and it showcased that over the weekend. It was fantastic, and obviously National Ground Week as well is well underway. So we'll give a plunge to that. So hopefully it goes well for all tracks involved, and trying to get people in the building. And the last week of the summer holidays for a lot, so hopefully they get all the kids there, and they all enjoy their time, and they go and then they want to come back, because that's what we need for this sport. So we can talk about it till we're blue in the face. We need people going back. So if they've gone this week for the first time, National Ground Week, a lot of initiatives, we need to make sure they go back as well.
And I think the early signs were really positive. I mean, certainly it was a bank holiday, admittedly, but I thought the tracks.
Monmore looked rammed, didn't it, as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Park and Nottingham, of course, in terms of the sort of National Greyhound Week, they're going that extra mile, the tracks as well. And I think just the sort of the impact that various parties are involved with in projecting greyhound racing, I think is having a knock-on effect, and that's maybe a conversation for another time. So, I think was just to say thanks to you, Chris, and hopefully these captions are going to be changed. Otherwise, Danny, could you just please take off your beard?
We're changing now quickly. Right,
Till next time.
changing that before we finish. We've got the luxury of having Danny's unlimited time Zoom. So yeah, she has changed. I look better as a Danny Jackson than she does. We'll end on that.
Let's end like that, or we're going to get in trouble. Right. I'll see you later, guys. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Cheers, fellas.